are still here and live. If y'all were here watching a few minutes ago, we just went dead. Like our whole stream just died out. But true professionals come back and get it done. Am I talking about the right thing,
Listen,
Kirk
man.
Nugent?
Listen, man. This is how it happens. This is how it all works, right? I mean, you never can tell how what's gonna happen from one moment to the next, and you
You
just got to be able to
never
roll with
can
those
know.
punches, man.
You just you
Never can
just gotta
tell.
roll with
So,
it.
and this is one of the things that people absolutely hate about live video is this right here, right?
Right.
Is that it can go wrong, is that it
Yeah.
can crash, is that
Right.
it can fall apart, and
Yeah.
you just have to be willing to roll with it. Yeah,
Yeah,
you got to be
man.
willing to roll with it, man. So kudos to you for keeping cool and just rolling with it. And again, for those that are watching, kudos to you guys as well.
Yeah,
So
man.
yeah,
We
yeah, yeah.
we didn't
Hey,
know
do
what
me a
happened.
favor,
We were
man.
yeah.
Shoot me the link where we're live so I want to reshare this
Yeah, let
to
me see
where
where it's
to the
coming out
places
at
that
on the YouTube channel. Let's check that. We'll shoot everybody that live
cool
link and say, hey, let's let them have watch it. Let's see what my let's see what it's doing right now here. Let's see what it's doing.
cool 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 cool.
Cause I'm on the YouTube, but all of a sudden, like even internet's acting weird. Like it's been perfect all day, and all of a sudden now it's acting funky. Craziness, right?
But I went live earlier today, like around noon,
Uh huh.
and it was fine on my side. I could see everything.
Mm-hmm.
Everything was fine, but the people who were watching were like, "Yeah, we're hearing like every other word." And then
Really?
Monty Weaver came on, and he was like, "Yeah." Monty Weaver came on, he was like, "Yeah, people have been streamers have been complaining all day that streaming has I don't know, something got clogged up or something's not working right with
So
the
it's
stream
not just
powers that
us
be."
that trying to tell me.
Oh no, 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 no. I had an issue. I had an issue earlier today, but it seemed to have resolved itself, so it was cool.
Well, right
It was
now
cool.
we are like I'm going to the regular YouTube channel, and it's not even populating. Like it's taking a minute. So like if I go to regular
Wow.
YouTube, like that, and I'm on a hard line. Like it's sitting there doing perfectly. It should be like right there, and all of a sudden it's just a hanging, which is so weird, right? You guys that are watching, this is the fun stuff. This is the live real deal. I see my boy Chris
Yeah,
Jet
yeah.
stopping in. Chris Jet, how are you, brother? You said you can hear us loud and
Said
clear. Perfect.
loud and clear. He
Perfect.
sees us, hears us fine. So hey, look, if that's working, that's fine. So all we need to do now is we
Is
got to get that link. I want to share that
hey,
thing
you
out.
know
I'm
what?
trying to pull it up as well.
Just send them the beautiful now. Go to youtube.com/beautiful now project. That's all you got to send them to. It's the front page.
Cool.
Send them to that. Send
I'm about to
everybody
do that
to
right
that.
now.
They can check us out. Hey, Chris, glad to see you, man. Hope you're doing well. Glad you're popping in to say hey to us. It's been a minute, buddy. Been a minute since I seen you. So good to see you stepping out. Let's see. We got see some. There it is. Chris said, "I can see and hear you both just fine." So we got
Yep.
somebody in between
So
us loving us.
and that's what it's all about. So we're gonna
That's
we're gonna
what
get
it's
this thing
all
right.
about.
We're gonna get it right. Let me just go
Did
ahead
you
and
get
do
the
a
address
couple of
right?
shares here.
Did it come through?
Yep, I got the link now. Yeah,
Okay,
got
cool.
the link now. So I'm gonna share it, and
Share it,
then
share
we're
it,
gonna go
share
ahead
it.
and
Let's do it. Share it. Let's make it happen, brother.
yeah, definitely gonna make it
All right,
happen.
let's
Here we
do.
go.
Man, you know what? Let's just go ahead and crank into this since we're having a little bit of fun. First of all, if you are just catching and stepping in, we had a little technical difficulty in the beginning. A live show sometimes happens like that, and we are both professionals. We just roll with it and keep going. And the point of this conversation or this whole interview was to talk about how to be an entrepreneur. And we're talking to a person who has kind of branched out and took his passions to become that. And this guy, to say a Renaissance man would be almost undeserving because he's done so much more than just one or two things. He's had multiple careers, and I want to give you a little bird's eye view
And
of my friend, Mr. Kirk Nugent. Kurt, talk to him a little bit, brother. Talk to him about who you are.
man, I am excited to be here. Excited for the opportunity to come and share and chill with the Beautiful Now audience, and with Derek Floyd and all this stuff, man. Listen, I one of the things I want to say right at the outset about entrepreneurship is that it is much more of a mindset than a state of career. A lot of people
Mm.
try to differentiate. It's like, oh, I want to be an entrepreneur. Well, guess what? you don't necessarily have to not have a job or not be working for someone else to be an entrepreneur. You can be an entrepreneur even while you're working. And I know
Mm.
that like, so our first question that Derek was talking about was basically like, hey, we want to give people the backstory. And one of the things I always think about when I think about my journey to where I am now was it goes all the way back to my dad. So my dad was the one out of my two parents. My mom had the quote unquote stable job, right? The 9 to 5. And she had the health insurance and the this and the this and the this and the this. And that was
Mhm.
cool. And my dad was working for himself. He had the wood shop, he had the business. Um, Quiet as it's kept, my dad did all of the cabinetry, all of the carpentry for Raymond James Stadium when it opened in Tampa.
What?
Just to give you,
The Bucks?
that as an example. I'm going to give you
Go
that as an
Bucks.
example. That's the kind of work my dad did. So a lot of people are like, "Oh, your dad's a carpenter," and I just say yes because that's what you say. That's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
term that's you know widely accepted. But
Mhm.
his technical title is an architectural mill worker, right? Because he actually would look at spaces and design custom cabinetry to fit those spaces. So it wasn't,
Wow.
off the shelf type stuff.
Yeah,
And what I
yeah.
recognized with my dad is that regardless of whether or not he was working for himself or he was working for a company, he always moved with an energy that was entrepreneurial, if that makes sense,
Mm.
guys. So
Yeah, yeah.
that
I feel that.
entrepreneurial spirit is something that literally lives inside you. And so
Mhm.
one of the things I always say to folks is like, man, I want to take the plunge. I want to be an entrepreneur. What I would ask you is, are you entrepreneurial? do
Mm,
you do
mm,
you
mm.
have those innate qualities? And I'm not saying you can't cultivate them. I'm not saying that they can't be groomed and watered and grown, but there's got to be something inside of you that there's a desire to have creative control and freedom. And
Mm,
here's the
mm,
clincher: creative control and freedom of what you want to put out, for good and for bad. Right? You
mm,
have to
mm.
own both the victory
Hmm.
and the failure, because
Yes.
that's what entrepreneurship is. You don't have anyone else to blame or to thank if things go wrong, if things go right, because that's what entrepreneurship is really all about. So I just wanted to start right there. I wanted to kind of prime the pump and get things going. I
Oh,
know that we
wow.
had a technical difficulty, but let me be clear here. The technical difficulty is such a great microcosm for entrepreneurship.
I love it, man. And you said it. You said it. You got to be the one ready to take all the blame.
Oh yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
good, bad, and different.
yeah.
It's all under you, and you got to
Every
walk that
it
thing out.
could not be better said, man. Good, bad, or indifferent, it's all on you. It's all on you, and
Well,
and, and that's what it's all about. Go ahead.
I was gonna say you've done so many things. I want to kind of touch on how you started. I got my notes here because I couldn't even remember. You done so much stuff I couldn't even remember it all to just kind of tell you. So let's see, multiple degrees. You worked as a director of IT at Alabama, IT director in South Africa, market data analyst, on and on and on. Bro, tell me a little bit about your career path and how you landed all those places.
Man, so first of all, I am a believer. I'm a person of faith. I
Yes, sir.
believe
Yes,
that my
sir.
steps are ordered, and so
Hmm.
so that's a huge component. And I'm not going to go off the deep end for those that's not your thing, but that is very much central to all the things that I've experienced in my career. But I came through the ranks. One of the things I knew right off the bat when I was coming out of high school was that at least me personally, I didn't feel like I fit the traditional educational model. I was very much a hands-on person. I learned by doing. I didn't learn by reading. I didn't learn by sitting in the classroom. So, by and large, the general structure of education, as it currently is and currently still is in this country, did not work for me. I needed to do things hands-on. So, one of the reasons why I wanted to go into IT was because I knew that there was a hands-on component to IT. That makes sense. So that hands-on component to IT is what drew me into it. And so I figured, hey, they have a degree in this thing. Let me go and seek out that degree because maybe it'll be hands-on. Got to college, it's not hands-on.
No,
But
it's not
I got
hands-on.
hired. I know it's not hands-on. But I got hired by the college IT department, right? The college I went to, Andrews University in Barron Springs, Michigan. They hired their IT department, the team that supported the school hired me as a student technician.
Wow.
Best thing that could ever happen. And in that job, I learned how to work within an IT shop. I learned how to troubleshoot. Oh my God, somebody's gonna get this thing. I learned how to see a problem, break it down to the very basics, and then build it back up and find where the issue is along the way. I learned how to problem solve, to think on my feet, to look at something that everybody says is broken from a different angle to see what the problem is. I learned those things in the IT shop. And then myself, and there was like 2 or 3 other students that were hired at the time, we still to this day attribute everything that we have done in life to what we learned in that IT shop. Not so much the degree that we ended up earning. I'm an average student, C student. So for my C students out there, don't feel no way. You're just in a system that grades based on flying, but you're a fish.
Come on now. I love that.
Don't
say
feel
that
no
one more
way
time.
about
That's so
this.
good. That's so good.
You're just in a system that grades based on your ability to fly, but you're a fish.
I love
right?
it.
And then what happens is when all those birds fly away and you somehow trip over a stick and land in the water and they see you swimming, they're like, this guy's genius. Because they finally get a chance to see you in your element.
Wow.
You were never meant to fly. But how many know that the ocean can be sometimes deeper than the highest cloud? All right, I'm going to stop.
Come on, preach it, Master Nugent. Preach it, Pastor Nugent. Come on now. Preach it.
But that was the thing for me, and that was the trajectory. One of the things I also realized about myself is that my dad is the ultimate networker, right? So I sat at the feet of a man who did not need to be trained on how to network. It exuded from him. Every fiber of his being was networking. And I learned those things from him. And so those things became part and parcel of who I am. And part of that aspect of what I learned from my dad was the ability to see things from other people's perspective.
Right.
And so what did that skill do for me? This is one of the signature talks that I would give as a public speaker was I learned the language of industry. So as an IT guy, you're gonna resonate with this, Derek.
Yeah.
As an IT guy, you are working in a space that is not your own. What do I mean? Yeah. So my first job out of college was at NASA. Government, right? Science, all this other stuff. They're testing moon dust and crap like that. So that's not my thing, but I'm an IT guy providing tech support in an environment that's government. So you learn the language of the industry because you're not working in your own industry.
Yeah, yeah.
So then my next job is finance. I was working at T. Rowe Price and Associates in Baltimore, Maryland. I had to learn the language of industry. I had to learn finance relative to technology so that I could not only suggest solutions and best practices from a technology standpoint for finance. I had to learn the language of industry. And being able to learn the language of industry is what I found to be the key ingredient to climbing the ladder. Because they wanted me in the meeting because I could speak both languages. You're going to get this, Derek. They wanted me in the meeting because I could code switch. They wanted me in the meeting. You get me. They wanted me in the meeting because I could speak to the geek about RAM and gigahertz and megahertz, right? And ones and zeros. But I could also sit in the C-suite and talk to them about the bottom line. I could sit with the CFO and talk with them about return on investment and marketing and forecasting and future planning and continuity, disaster recovery. I could sit with those people in those spaces and speak their language native to them, but giving them a perspective that they had not heard before.
I love it.
That was the key ingredient. So when I got to be IT director and chief information officer and CTO, those are those are tables that I was able to sit at because I could speak the language of industry.
I love it.
And so that's one of the things I always say to folks out there is you've got to learn the language of industry.
Yes, sir.
One of the jobs that I had, I'm not, I know our time is fleeting, but
Man, you
one of
just
the
go and do
jobs
your
that
thing. We just coasting.
one of the jobs I had was working for the Seventh Adventist World Church headquarters, right? So this is an NGO, non-governmental organization. I was working for the church headquarters, which is headquartered in Silver Spring, Maryland. This is a global denomination, and I was working there as a technical support specialist in their finance department. So now again, having to learn the language of the industry. What is the industry this time? It's a religious denomination. And I would travel around the world to train people on how to set up a finance ERP, the technical side of it. So I had to be able to get to let's say my first trip working for them was to go to Hosur, India. Working
India,
with some folks
for real?
they could, oh yeah, and working with some folks who spoke English, but our English wasn't exactly the same.
Yeah, it wasn't spot on.
So I had to learn their language in order to explain the technical pieces of what we were setting up so that they could be successful.
Yeah, man.
And so when people see me now explaining things on YouTube, right? My YouTube channel is all how-to videos. They think, oh man, you really explained that well. You don't understand. I was prepared for this.
Yes, sir.
In my mind, I had been an entrepreneur probably for the better part of my life, even though I just, quote unquote, took the plunge.
I love it.
Last May. Because as I mentioned at the outset, entrepreneurship is a mindset. It's much more than a job status. Hey, where are you working currently? Even when I had a job, when people would ask me that question, I'd be like, well, yeah, I'm doing a couple of things right now.
Okay.
I'm doing some public speaking. I do have a formal job, but my mindset was always around something for Kirk, something that you can own for yourself. So, and I know that, one of the key distinctions in the title of the video for today is Black entrepreneurship. It does mean something different.
Yeah.
Because as a people, we don't always have something to call our own. And so ownership was at the core of me wanting to do something for myself.
Yeah. And we got James Hicks stepping up saying, what's up, yo? James Hicks popped in on the what's up,
James
Mr. Hicks. You know he's the man.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I think,
thanks so much for coming through, James.
Yeah, James, as always, man. If you can explain, and I know there's a difference, but people don't always see it, between entrepreneurship and owning a business. There really is it's a thin line, but it's different, right? To explain the difference between entrepreneurship and owning a business.
So, owning a business is, as a business owner isn't always an entrepreneur, although an entrepreneur can be a business owner.
Exactly.
You said that so perfectly. And so what that means is the business owner is involved with the day-to-day running of the business. There is a onus on the business owner to ensure all the ships are running on time, to, T's are crossed, I's are dotted. There's a lot of work that's happening behind the scenes, in different corners, if you will, in terms of the operations of the business that business owner may not be involved in, but from a high 10,000 foot view, that business owner has purview and has responsibility. The aspect of the business owner that is entrepreneurial is sustainability, is longevity, is viability. How do I stay on the cutting edge? How do I innovate my business? Okay, this is what we're doing today, but I don't want to end up like Blockbuster.
Yes.
Right? That aspect of the business owner's job is entrepreneurial. And what happens to businesses that go under is that the business owner, the CEO, the person who's in charge, lost that edge. because the entrepreneur recognizes that somebody's coming for my meal. Like that's it. There's somebody around the
That's it.
corner who's going to do it just a little bit better than I do, or just slightly different. They're going to appeal in a different way. They're going to catch a wave for the new generation, and I'm going to be out. The entrepreneur understands that, and they're constantly reinventing.
Yeah.
Whenever you find somebody, and this is what my biggest gripe with Apple and Google, because they've kind of rested on their laurels at this point. You know, that whole too big to fail kind of a scenario. They're not innovating. Let's be clear. This is not new. It's not. The newest iPhone, it's not new. Come on, that's the best. Let's keep it a buck. The best we've seen from Apple is the latest processor. That's innovation. For real. That's real. I'm not gonna. No shade. Apple, that new processor.
We
kudos.
got it. There it is.
But we have not seen anything real come new to the iPhone in years. And so guess what? That Tim Cook is sitting there somewhere figuring out whose company can I buy. That aspect of him is entrepreneurial.
I love
because that aspect of him is focused on sustainability, viability. How do I ensure that we are still here in 10 years?
Yes. Talk to us, man. Talk to us.
Yeah.
So if I were, let's go back. When you first began to say, I'm going to break out and do this and start on my own, because you've worked for multiple companies, done multiple things as you've explained, you've been in the room with great people, and then you said, okay, it's time for me to make a move. What were some of the first hurdles you encountered in starting that first business?
So this is a great question. I'm going to answer in two parts. One part, I'm going to say the motivation to leave was from a realization after moving from place to place and finding the same thing in all the places. And what was that? That was a lack of autonomy, a lack of the ability to say, let's go this way, and we go this way. Right. One of the things that I was doing in climbing the ladder, right, climbing the corporate ladder, is trying, like, me and my fellow student workers, all of us had the dream of being a CIO. That was our dream. And so, but my reason for getting to there was the ability to make my own decisions.
Bro, there you go.
But what I realized after I got there was that there was still somebody else that was making the decisions.
Over them.
Yeah. Yeah. So the CIO has to report to either the CFO or the CEO. And largely, let's be clear here. Yeah. They don't have a clue what's going on with IT. So
that's why
I would come in. Oh yeah. And I'd come in, I'd be like, okay, guys, I think we should go this way. No, Kirk, we really need to do it a different way. Let me think about it. And it's in your head, I can say anything I want right now because I don't work for anybody. But in my head, I would think to myself, what are you going back to think about? You don't even know what I've explained. All you know is what I have told you. And you're telling me, let me go back and think about it. No. So it was a lack of autonomy that eventually caused me to put my feet on a path towards owning my own thing. That was the first piece. The second part of the answer to your question is, I started building the base for me to step away from formal employment when our first child was born, and he's 12 now. So just to give you full perspective, we opened a business, Composition LLC. That's what I'm working for right now. Okay. My wife is the CEO of the business.
That's what's up.
She was working in the business. And so we created the business with two main things. Web design and media. Web design and media. We didn't really have a specific piece of media at the time. We just knew we wanted to do media. And if I ever stepped away from what I was doing, I was going to come into the business to do media. So web design and media. So we kind of left the media thing just kind of off there, was hanging out. It was just one of the taglines on our website for years. But the base of everything. So, and this is what people don't recognize with entrepreneurship, is that there's a lot of terminology around being an entrepreneur that is sexy. It's buzzword. It's it's kind of like, oh, I'm on my grind. I'm doing my thing. I'm betting on me. Everybody wants to be on that part, but there's a lot of things that are not sexy about being an entrepreneur. And it's the paperwork. It's the setting the infrastructure. Do you have a way to bring in money? Do you have a profit and loss statement? Do you get what I'm saying? So there's a lot of things around being in business that you just need to know how to do or have set up and in place. Like, the worst thing that you can do is say, hey, I'm in business for myself. And then somebody says, cool, I want to buy your service. And you're giving them your Cash App.
Yeah.
I'm not
Yes,
stepping on your I'm not stepping on your toes. I'm not stepping on your toes.
come on now.
I know the Cash App is the, this is one way that we are making money.
Yes. Yes.
But if you want to be official, if you ever want to go to another level, you're going to need to have ways for people to pay you that have nothing to do with Cash App or PayPal or any of these other things. You're going to need to be able to take a credit card and
I
have
love
people
that you
pay you.
said there's paperwork, there's structure, there's infrastructure, there's payment systems, there's all these things in play before you
Yeah.
even open the doors to be your business, even if it's online or if it's brick and mortar, whatever. You
Yeah.
need to have a
Yeah.
structured setup system before you take a payment, right, Kurt?
Everything you said is absolutely correct. And this is the part of it that we were setting up all those years prior to me then saying, okay, let me step out.
Right.
Because then when I stepped out, and it never fails. I mean, I remember 6 months out of formal employment and working for myself, I sat down with a major client that I was trying to land, and they knew I was newly self-employed. They knew that,
Yeah.
but they also knew that the work product that I was showing them was exactly what they were looking for.
Hmm.
So the lady, they had decided they were going to go with us. And I remember being in a conversation with just the finance officer, and she was like, "Hey, how can let me know what we can do to get this payment? Send. I know we got your quote, but send us, a way for us to. We got to figure out a way to do the payment part." I was like, "Yeah, no problem. On the quote is a way for you to do the payment."
Hmm.
She was like, "What?" Yeah, on the quote is a way for you to do the payment. She, she looked at the thing, she clicked the link, and this payment thing comes up
Boom.
because again, Kanique had been in business for herself for years. And so the lady is like, wow, you're fresh out of of working for someone else and you already have all this infrastructure set up. I was like, I'm not going into business I didn't leave one business and go start, running around the place trying to make money. I
Right.
left one business to go into another business. And in order for me to leave one business and go into another business, I had to create the business to make sure that the business was functional so that as I get into the business, I can immediately start hitting the ground to make money. If you don't have a system to receive money, you're not in business. You're doing favors
Wow.
and
If you don't,
hoping for a tip.
y'all need to mark that down. Everybody ever watch this episode, you watch it again. If you don't have a system to take money for your service, you just doing favors. Wow,
Favors.
bro, that's
And you're
strong.
hoping for a tip.
That's-
Don't list that last part. And you're hoping for a tip.
and
You're
you hope
hoping
you
for a tip.
cash
Yeah,
app and try
yeah,
to get your money. No, dude,
yeah.
that's not gonna
Oh,
be the
yeah,
only way.
yeah.
So speaking of
No.
that, then let's circle back. Did you have to get a lawyer to draw up all the paperwork, or is there ways you can do it yourself and still be okay, still be structured?
I recommend to anyone that is looking to get into the whole business world, right? You want to start something for yourself. Number one, count the cost, right? Number one, count the cost. I have this little analogy where I say to folks, what do you need to, there's this old adage that everybody says to folks who want to go work for themselves, and that is dive in, the water's fine. What I
Hmm.
say to folks is, can you swim?
I love it.
Can
I
you
love it.
swim? Because if you can't swim, hmm? If you
Don't
can't
dive in if you
swim,
can't
then
swim.
then don't dive in. And what does swimming look like? It means, can you budget? Can you deny yourself? If you are an entrepreneur and you don't understand denial, I challenge the fact whether or not you're an entrepreneur,
Wow.
because you have your good months and you have your bad months. And if you don't
Hmm.
know how to stretch, that's entrepreneurship 101. This is the non-sexy, right?
Yeah, yeah,
These are
yeah.
the pieces that people are not going to tell you because it doesn't get the good hashtags,
Right.
it doesn't get the
It
likes,
it
it
doesn't
doesn't
make it
go
all
viral.
shiny and pretty. You're like, oh
No,
yeah, I want to
no,
do that.
no,
Yeah.
no, no.
No.
And yeah, I say to people, can you swim? Number one. And what does swimming look like? It means having like we said, systems and structure and the payment system and being able to deny yourself and being able to budget. Here's their last piece of being able to swim. It's the ability to ask people for what you're owed,
Mm.
right? I said this on my live stream earlier today. because I'm doing a remote production masterclass, and I was saying to people, the the ask, right? In the ask, right? In your proposal, thank you. In your proposal, in the ask is inherent the amount of money you want for the service you're going to provide. And I always say to folks, it is better to not get the work than to discount it.
Mm.
All right, that's the first piece. But the second piece is never try to squeeze your value into a client's budget.
Come on. Come on.
And if you can't ask
speaking.
for money, then you can forget it. If you can't ask for money, you can't swim. So don't dive in.
See, you preaching, and I'm gonna turn you right there and refocus. I'm gonna drill in a little harder because one of the questions I talked to you about was how do you establish value in the service that you're offering if you're an entrepreneur? Because either you're offering a service, you're doing a service, you're doing some type of thing that requires that they have to pay you for your worth. How do you determine the worth of that service? And how do you just ask? Like you got to be not afraid to ask for it. You got to say, look, this is what my service cost you, and not be afraid and not be like, oh, well, I'll do it for you for this instead. No, my service costs this. My time is worth this, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. There is a huge learning curve where this is concerned, and it is a moving target. So one of the things that a good friend said to me is that your price is what the people are willing to pay for it. If it is a actual product that you have to procure somewhere else and then give it to someone, then that price has to include that thing and your time. But if it is something that you have full creative control over, you're creating the thing that they want, or you're providing a service that they want, then it is going to be based on what they're willing to pay.
Yeah.
Initially. So you do want to do some homework in terms of understanding other people who are in your area. Like for my wife, she constantly is looking at other web designers, looking at what their costs are, looking at what they're charging, but she also understands her perfect person, right? Her avatar, right? Her profile. This is the person who she knows she is uniquely and strategically purposed to serve.
Yeah.
So knowing that person and knowing what they are probably going to be able to pay for the value you know you have to offer really helps you to find a sweet spot. And then you have to iterate. You do have to iterate. Listen, what did Fat Joe say? What did he say?
Yesterday's price is not today's price.
That's what Fat Joe said. And the reason why Fat Joe said that is because the reason why Fat Joe said that is because what I knew yesterday is why yesterday's price was yesterday's price.
Yeah.
But I know more today. And because I know more today, I can give you more value. And because I can give you more value, I have a different price. So the pricing structure is iterative. It's going to shift. It's going to change over time. And to be clear, some of those clients are going to grow with you. Yeah. Because if the value that you have to offer is benefiting those clients, then those clients are going to also be increasing in their bottom line, and they have more capacity to be able to pay you.
I think you said two things I want to circle back to the people who are listening. So you have to figure out who your customer is first. Oof. What are their wants and not wants, likes, dislikes? What is their economic system? You know, if you're trying to reach someone that's, you know, this plateau where they spend this much money, whatever, but you're coming at them from this way, you're not going to reach that guy. So you got to figure out who you're reaching, what they can afford, you know, and then make your price substantial in that space. It doesn't have to be outrageously above, but make it the cost that it should be. But if you don't even know who your customer is, don't even open the door. Like you said, don't even get in the pool.
Forget it.
If you don't know what's in the water, right? Don't get in the pool if you don't know what's in the water, yo. Am I saying that right? Help me out.
You're saying it so right. Don't even bother getting in the pool. Don't dive in because you can't swim. Don't you know, one of this is the piece that what you're touching on right now is another aspect of that same analogy. But what I'll say in terms of what you're asking is the reason why you are uniquely poised to be able to provide supreme value to this particular demographic is because you know them. You know them. You know them intimately. You know their likes, their wants, their habits, you know their desires, you know their struggles, their pain points. One of the things I say to public speakers is that I am your perfect producer. Why? Because I'm a public speaker. You see what I did there?
For sure.
So because I'm a public speaker, I know exactly what public speakers want when they go live.
Oh yeah.
And that's what I provide for them. So if you don't know that about your particular client, so for me and Kanig, it's small businesses, it's entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, and it's faith-based entities. That's who we go after. We stay right in our lane. When something comes up that is not in our lane, we immediately recognize it. Why? Because we have experience with this, because we've taken those clients on before and failed miserably, and we're not doing that again. Okay. And so now we know exactly where our sweet spot is, and we're staying in our lane because we know we can provide value with them. Anything else out of that is going to be way too much. And this, if we go back to that same swing analogy, diving in is great. If you can swim, then you have the ability to say, yes, let me dive in.
Sure.
Okay, that's number one. But if you are afraid of the deep end, then you don't want to dive in on the deep end.
Yeah.
And so this is the part of knowing your demographic. I can't dive in with a Fortune 500 company. I don't have the infrastructure for it. I would have to build out overnight capacity to be able to manage the requests from a Fortune 500 company. I can't do that.
I love that.
So you got to know who your demographic is. And then here's the other piece, what we were talking about before in terms of preparing to go into entrepreneurship, preparing to go into business and having the infrastructure. What that is in the analogy, Derek, is putting on the swim trunks. Have you ever seen somebody in the pool fully clothed with shoes on and a jacket, and a tie, flailing around? Guess what? Everybody knows that this person just fell in. They're not supposed to be here because they didn't prepare to get in the water.
That's so good.
They didn't prepare. They don't have on suntan lotion. They don't have on swim trunks. They don't have on slippers. They've got socks on.
They didn't come prepared.
They weren't prepared. They're not supposed to be here. Everybody can tell that person's not supposed to be here.
Wow.
And the last part of the analogy, I'm gonna leave it alone after
No,
this.
man, keep going, keep drilling. I'm gonna watch it again.
The last part of the analogy is simply this. Somebody is telling you to dive in, and they're in summer, and you're in winter.
There you go.
You've got to know your season when you're ready to dive in. It could be a frozen over lake, and they're telling you to dive in. You're gonna damage yourself. You're gonna just hit the water and just stay there. You're not gonna go in. There's nothing to dive into. You've got to know your season to dive in. They may be
y'all
standing
hearing
in
this
summer
from
saying,
Preaching
hey, the water is fine. Hey, the water is fine. The water is fine. Yeah, of course the water is fine. They're in summer.
Yeah, but you're in winter.
But I know for a fact, I have been standing next to people who are in summer and it's my winter. It's not my season to dive in.
Wow.
And then I've also been standing next to people when it was my summer and I dived in. They thought they could dive in with me and it's not summer for them. Worst thing you could do is dive in and not be ready. Worst thing you can do is dive in outside of your season. Worst thing you can do is dive in and not be able to swim and dive into the part of the pool that you have no business being in.
I'm gonna give you a statement for that. Number one, we're gonna give a couple shouts because I see she said don't get in the pool. Now that's your wife said don't even get up in there. Not gonna get in the pool if you ain't ready. If your season ain't here, don't jump your happy butt in the water. And we got a hello family from a girl. Is that Alain? What's her name?
Alain Wall. That's Alain. That's.
Come on
Oh
now.
man, I'm so glad to see you.
Stepping
I'm
up
so
with the
glad to see
fam.
you here.
So
That's what's up.
let me tie this in with you, Kirk. I don't know if you ever heard of a guy named Craig Rochelle, big leadership guy. He's the one who does Life Church. He's the one who created the Bible app, like super brilliant dude. He gives a quote in one of his books. He said, people try to get in and do everything because, God says I can do anything. He goes, but the sentence should be, I can do anything, but I can't do everything. And the point being, if you're a business, you could really do anything, but you're not designed to do everything. And like you said, you need to create your lane, stay in your space,
Stay
and
in
quit
your
trying to do
space.
everybody's everything, because that's not where your lane is. Don't mean it's not possible to do it, but you do you. You stay in your lane, you create your business, and you find your customer and you draw oil. And when it's your season, jump in the water. If it's not, sit your tail on the side of the pool and put your feet in the water until it's time. Right, Kurt?
One of the listen, I couldn't agree with you more. One of the things that I have found to be a recurring theme of success throughout my entrepreneurship journey, throughout business currently, and even while I was working for others, is the willingness to be led, is the willingness to be coached, is the willingness to sit and learn from those who have gone ahead, from those who have gone before, to pick up a book and read, to grab a podcast and consume content and knowledge and information that will be critical to my success. That is the component that I don't see from a lot of folks. I can't tell you how many countless client meetings that Kanika and I will meet with, and folks are just like, there's no logo, there's no slogan, there's no, you know what I'm saying? Like, we still dealing with Gmail, you know what I mean? Like, bruh, like, no, man. And you're saying to yourself, you've got clients already, guys. You
should be above this.
We need to, put the suntan lotion on. You in the water burning up. You shouldn't have socks on, right? What are you doing? So those are the pieces. And I think especially for us in our community, in the Black community, if I could say that specifically, we have an aversion to, like, we want to put up the facade, like, I got this.
Yeah.
I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
No, you don't. And we can all tell. Why? Because you're in the water and the lifeguard is standing with the floaty under his arm. You know what I mean? You don't look like you know how to swim. You went down 2 times, and this 3rd time might be the last. I know what I'm doing. No. And there's nothing wrong with acknowledging that I'm learning right now. And I know that we as a people have not been given space to say that openly. But entrepreneurship is a space where you can, because ain't nobody judging you. Yeah. Because ain't no job to go to. I can't tell you I had to fake it till I made it, right? You gotta sit there in the meeting and nod your head, and you have no clue what's going on, but you gotta nod your head, because you cannot, as a Black man, portray a sense of ignorance, a sense of completely being disconnected and unsure of what's going on. Yeah. I always had to exude confidence. This is one of the major differences between working for someone else and working for yourself. When you're working for yourself, look, you need to create spaces where you're not the expert. Create spaces where you can come in and be like, hey, so what does the N mean? Like, I'm just picking a random letter. Like, what does RTF mean? I have no idea what that means. You got to create spaces where you can ask the quote unquote dumb question and not care, because for you, it's an issue of, I need the information so I can be successful.
I love it.
The value you have to offer is unquestionable. That's what most people, you see, even for the remote production masterclass, one of the things I was saying was, you've learned how to stream, so you know how to stream. Ain't nobody's asking you that part, but do you understand the business of streaming?
Yes.
So if you're a painter, you can paint, ain't nobody questioning you about that. But do you understand the business of painting? If you are, if you're, what do you say, multimedia? Is that where you are? It's IK Multimedia. If you are in that space, nobody's questioning. I mean, these devices are dope, right? Yeah. These devices are absolutely dope. Nobody's questioning that. But do you understand the business of how to sell it? What's gonna sell? There's nothing wrong with saying, here's my lane of expertise. Over here, I'm learning. So today, I'm the teacher for the masterclass, and not even tomorrow. Later in the afternoon, I'm sitting in a masterclass as a student.
There it is. The best entrepreneurs are always learning. That's another big. That's a huge
Excellent.
one. Huge one. You have dropped so much
Yeah.
knowledge. I'm only going to ask a few more questions because you just broken it out. But let's do a small recap. Small recap. If you're
Small
starting your
yeah.
business today, make sure you have
Yeah.
your paperwork and the structure and systems built to take payment. Make sure you've discovered who your customer is, demographically, financially, where
Yes.
that customer lane is, what your competition is in that lane, so you know how to counteract
Competition.
and
Whew.
discover what makes you stand apart. And if
So
you're
good.
not prepared, as Kurt has said, we talked about it, stay out of the pool. The pool analogy is great because if you like you said, if you still got your sneakers on and your hat on, and you jump in the water, everybody else in that pool is gonna know you're not prepared. So the customer you might have gotten will step back because he'll see you still got your hat and your sneakers on. Instead of you having your swim trunks on, you're ready to swim. So I think my next question
So good,
circles back
sir.
around to
So
Kurt
good,
to
sir.
say, do you feel it was harder to be respected as a black business owner entrepreneur than your white counterparts, and how did you overcome that?
This is the part where live video is such a game changer. It is, in my opinion, one of the great equalizers as well. Um, I, I I don't get a chance to be in the circles or the spaces or the rooms where people are judging one over the other. As business owners, it's like, okay, should I choose this remote producer or should I choose this one? What I do know, however, Derek, is that because people have a constant example of my work for my own channel, and all they can do is grade me based on my own work, I always get an A.
There you that I love that. Love that.
So
Love that.
so
Love that.
I don't know if I don't know if I'm being compared. But what I can tell you is I get to the table. Let me give you let me give you a quick story.
Break it down. Break it down.
Huge client, can't say the name of the client. Huge client, massive contract, big project. They bring me in. I give them a proposal. I had an inside man, love her. She put me in, literally. The assist was dope, right? Bounce pass into paint, alley oop, boom, boom, through the legs, smashed it, right? So I get in there, I give them my proposal. Folks are still on the fence. They call in one of their ringers, big gun, somebody who is a broadcast icon. Like this person's name should be on people's walls. There should be books written about her. She is phenomenal. She gets in this space there. She's like, who are you guys considering? They're like, well, you probably don't know him. It's a guy named Kirk Nugent. See, Kirk Nugent from the ECAM community? They're like, you know Kirk Nugent? She's like, yeah. Everything I know about ECAM, I've learned from him. I'm a subscriber of his channel.
Got him. Got him.
They signed the contract immediately. They signed the contract immediately. Not only did they sign the contract immediately, they paid the full balance. They're supposed to pay 50% up front. They
on
paid the
now.
whole thing. What I'm saying is, I'm coming back to your question. I don't even know if I get graded, how I get graded or pit against my counterparts who may not be black. What I do know is because of live video and because I have a constant example of the work that I'm able to do, right? As I always say, your live stream is your digital storefront because there's no
Yes.
greater way for people to experience your greatness than for them to see you do it live. Because that is constantly out there, right?
Right.
They always have a pitch. Like whether I come in the room to pitch them or they say, nah, we don't want Kirk to come in because we already seen his work. So I'm saying this to say to you, right now we are seeing a democratization of these opportunities. Am I saying that it's completely balanced and even across the board? Absolutely not. That's the reason why black entrepreneurship is different than entrepreneurship. No doubt about that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
There's just opportunity that just not afforded us. But in terms of opportunities in my particular space, I mean, hey, if you want to go with my white counterpart, they may be a subscriber.
They probably are.
I'm just saying, and there are instances where I'm learning from others as well. So I'm not saying that to say that I'm at the top of the heap. I'm simply saying, because of the democratization of the internet, right? The internet effect on business is that we are seeing some of the playing fields, not all, but some of the playing fields start to even out.
We got some
We're
comments
seeing
coming in
that.
from some of the crew out there. She said, we've all been taught by schools that if you don't get it right the first
Ooh,
time,
that
you're
one is dope.
wrong. That's a
Yeah,
definite unlearn that, because fail
yeah,
fail fast is where we are now. That's where they talk
that's
about
right. That's it.
fail fast, so you can get to the
Fail
right
often,
answer.
fail fast, get up and keep moving.
Man, fail fast. She gave us one more statement, which was awesome. She said, "You're so right. Your work speaks for itself. It's your digital resume."
That's
Fire
correct.
on that statement. I mean, and like he said, he didn't have to fight anybody else's. His work stood on its own. He's able to go to his live stream, boom, check it out right there online. So if
There it
you
is.
are thinking of doing a business, if you are thinking about putting something together, entrepreneurship, figure out a way to present yourself digitally without even having to be
hmm
there, so they can see exactly
hmm
what you're about before you even walk in the door. Have
I'm
yourself a
telling
little
you.
30-second trailer, 60-second trailer of what your business is about. Have it professionally done. Don't okey doke it. Don't just do it silly and send that over there, because that's your first and only impression you get from them. So make sure your
I'm
stuff is tight. Talk to me, Kurt. Make sure it's dead on,
I'm
right?
listen, everything you're saying, yes. Everything you're saying is yes. But I am of the opinion that every business owner, every entrepreneur should have a live show.
Oh yeah, something.
I am. I am.
You
Why?
gotta have something.
Because you want people to experience your greatness. See, the
I
thing
love
is,
it.
what people think is that, oh, Kirk has a live show because he does remote production. He's into live video, so that's getting him business. No, 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 no. The topic of my live show is live video. And so people get to see me talk about live video and get passionate, and they're like, I want that guy. That's
This
it.
guy, this guy
So,
right
so
here,
yeah,
this
I
guy.
love
How
that.
it all works. This guy. Maybe
Yeah,
it's this
yeah, yeah.
guy
Yeah.
talking to
Ah,
everybody
man,
about cool
you
stuff.
are killing it, man.
Man, this guy is fire. I don't know if you know this guy, but this guy has got something going on. This Kirk Nugent
Appreciate it,
guy.
man. I appreciate you, man. And I appreciate you. Listen, one of the things I love about being in spaces like these where we can just chat and just, it's a looser
Yeah,
style show. I know
yeah, for
we got to
sure,
close it
for sure.
down though. We're getting over our time, but
Yeah,
I appreciate you asking these questions in a way that allows people to really hear my heart on it.
yeah, yeah.
I absolutely love business owners, especially small businesses, entrepreneurs. I have a special place in my heart for people of color who want to dive into these spaces and really want to kill the game. But I also have a special passion for helping people recognize where live video fits in that
Yeah.
whole thing, because it can be a game changer if you use it
Mm,
right. It can be a game changer if you apply strategy. And the
mm.
strategy is what I want to that's what I want to share with people. That's what I want to share with the world. So
Well, man,
cool, man. I,
we
I
we
I think we do have one question there though.
yeah, we got a couple. Once somebody said, and she asked one at the end, is it okay for them to see bad videos?
Absolutely.
That's a tough
Abs-
question.
absolutely. Absolutely. They leave the bad videos up there. Why? Why should you leave the bad videos up there? Because the next video isn't as bad.
True.
And then the next video isn't as bad.
Okay.
And then the next video isn't as bad. And so if they follow the trajectory of your videos,
Sure.
then they know that you know how to take a video from this space to
Mm.
this space.
Okay.
And
Okay.
that shows you're learning. That shows that you're growing. That shows that you're innovating. That shows that you're a work in progress. That means if I hire you today, I'm going to get one version. But if I hire you next year, this same time, I might
I'm
get a
gonna get a
different
better
version.
version. Yeah.
I might get
That's
a better
nice.
version.
That's nice. That's
So
nice.
yeah,
That's nice.
yeah.
I
They get
got
a
one
chance
more
to see the growth.
sidebar question here.
Talk to me.
Are there any books that you read or courses that you took that you recommend as a must read for or a must see for entrepreneurship?
I just spoke yesterday at a conference, and
Okay.
I talked about. Let me see if I can pull this up because I think it would be.
Do
I
it.
think it's a very fitting way to end our live
Yes.
today. But
Yes.
it's a
Yes.
book
Yes.
called "Called to Create" by Jordan Rayner. I haven't pulled it up yet. I'm saying this right off of the top of my head.
Yep. I've
"Called to
got that
Create"
book.
by Jordan Rayner. You have it, and it says that, let's get to my thing here. Where are we going here? That Here we go. Call to Create by Jordan Rayner. And it says this in the introduction of the book. It says this: God was the first entrepreneur. Should I just stop there? Should I just stop there?
That's the power move right there.
God was the first entrepreneur. He brought something out of nothing. He established order from chaos. Right? He created for the good of others. Before the Bible tells us that God is loving, holy, or merciful, we learn that God is creative. We are made in the image of the first entrepreneur. Thus, when we follow his call to create content, businesses, nonprofits, art, music, books, and other products, we are not just doing something good for the world, we are doing something godlike. End quote.
Wow.
That is Jordan Rayner's introduction to the book Called to Create. I absolutely would recommend that book.
Drop the mic.
One of the
Drop the mic.
Yeah, I would absolutely recommend that book. And what I would also do is I think that the course and class thing is going to be specific to your area. I know for me, my children are not quite college age yet, but one of the things I'll be pushing them to do is get a business degree, because I feel like everything else builds off of the base of business.
Sure.
Doesn't matter what your particular niche or creative outlet is, your business background is going to help undergird that whole thing.
Yeah.
So what I would tell you to do is to go and take a business course. How to set up a business. What's the difference between an LLC and a S corp?
Yeah.
Go and learn that stuff. Understand the taxes and understand the money aspects, the business side of business.
Yes.
Because that's the intangible, the critical piece. See, the difference between success and failure as an entrepreneur is knowing the rules of the game so that you can play it well. Everybody knows that when we black folk get the rules of the game, we kill it. Y'all know this.
Yeah, y'all can just end it on that. That's the statement right there. Drop the mic, walk away.
Yeah, man. Go and learn business. Yeah,
wow.
That's what I would say.
Well, let me recap a couple things that people can see. You are in the middle of offering a master class right now. Tell them about it. They can jump in. How can they get a hold of it?
Yeah, man. Everybody, right there on the screen, it says kirkrnugent.com/masterclass. I would definitely highly recommend that you come and check us out. It is specific, though. It is for those who have been live streaming for themselves for a while, and you are getting the questions, because that's what happens. It's going to happen to you too, Derek. People are going to see your live stream. They're going to say, hey, Derek, man, can you do my show? And when that question comes, there is a framework. There's a guided experience you need to take this person through to ensure that you can deliver maximum value.
Yes.
Not only for the client, but also for you as well.
Yes.
Maximum value equals maximum coin. Okay?
Yes, sir.
So that process is what I'll be taking people through. This month we had Robert RK3 on the show this past Monday. We got Pierre Quinn coming up this coming Monday, and to close out the year, we've got Kimon Hines. Kimon Hines and Pierre Quinn are both coaches. One's a leadership coach, one is a business coach, and both of them are definitely people you're going to want to hear. And then in January, we have live video strategy. We're not doing convos and collabs for January and February. We're actually doing How It All Works live. This was my original show that I started with when I first left my job, How It All Works live. And in this month of January, it's just going to be yours truly. I want to be up there the whole month, the 10th, the 17th, the 24th, the 31st. And we're going to be talking about live video strategy on how you can use live video in your business, your brand, your side project, your side hustle, whatever it is. You want to harness the power of live video. This series in January is going to be critical for you. So
man, I know I'm going to be tuning in every time. I'm going to be right there in the front seat. Like, yo, I'm learning from the master here. And man, I just say I appreciate you, man. Let me just tell everybody, give me a round of applause just for being here and jumping up and being part of the team. It was just a beautiful thing to have you here. We start off with a couple little hiccups in the system going down, but you know what? Professionals just keep it going.
That's what you got to do.
the great thing, like I said about live content, is we can go back and rewatch it because now it's here. I can go back and relearn information. So just so thankful that you stopped by and just shared your wisdom, man. And I had all these other little fun stuff I was going to rock out with you, but it wasn't coming through the system well today. So we just roll with it, man. But next time, we're gonna have it go. Go get crazy up here at Kirk.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? I'll say this one last piece.
There you go.
I'll say this one last piece, and it will be done. What you have, Derek, is content. See, the other pieces, like the gimmicks and the flashing lights and all that stuff, they're great for stopping the scroll. This is what I always say to people. The reason why my stuff is set up like this, the reason why my camera looks like this is because I want to stop the scroll. Right. But let me tell you, I don't care how clear your camera is. If you're not saying nothing, they're going to scroll on.
Yes.
So Derek, you have hit the nail on the head. Yeah, we had technical difficulties. And yeah, it is embarrassing to some, but we moved past them. Yes. Number one. Number two, we had something to say. And because we have something to say, that's why we're going to leave it up.
Yes, sir.
Because, yeah, the value that we have to offer is irrefutable. Yes, we had some issues, but the value's still there.
Well, y'all heard it first from here. Kirk R. Nugent, the man, the myth, the legend, live stream strategist, tech media consultant, on and on and on. But not only that, good man, humble man, family man, Jesus freak. He can't go wrong at this point. So if you guys want to get a hold of someone like Kirk or get a hold of Kirk, of course, obviously, go to kirkrnugent.com. All of his information is there to be able to hook up with him, connect with him. You can learn a lot of what we just talked about today and some of his master classes coming up. So please let's get involved and let's make some measures happen there. Share this video with a friend. Let's let somebody else know, hey, this entrepreneurship thing, it's not all what it's cracked up to be, but there's so much you can do there. You got to get prepared. Don't get in the water too soon. A lot of good lessons we talked about today, so let's get those and recap that as well. Last but not least, if you enjoy this content, as always, please share it with a friend and hit the subscribe and like for us. We sure do appreciate you guys stopping by the Beautiful Now podcast. We appreciate you. Kurt, anything you want to show off before we close it out?
No, man. Listen. It was just absolutely a pleasure to be here. Absolutely a pleasure to come and hang out with you guys, hang out with your audience. It's been phenomenal. Come check me out. See you guys around the web.
Yes, and let's see. Follow Kurt. He's there, kirkrnugent.com. Y'all be good now. Take care. Have a great one.